Hello and welcome to another episode. I am Brian, the Unskilled Commander. Today we've got match 2 of Vehicles, Lily Planeswalkers, Legendaries, and Alela. I've already rolled the dice and Vehicles are going to roll out first, so let's see what happens. We'll play the island I just drew, tapping it for a Soul Ring. But no other moves there, we're going to pass. Untap, upkeep, draw. Island for turn. Well, I could play a Soul Ring, but of course, with Alela, you want to hold off on the artifacts until she's out. And I don't really need it. Yeah, I think we're going to save it for when she comes out. Plus, there's a different artifact that I need to play to get the colors to play her in the first place. So we'll pass. Untap, upkeep, draw. Inspired Garden comes in tapped unless you have two more opponents, which I do. However, I've got no 1-drops over here. Pass. Untap, upkeep, draw. We'll play Terramorphic Expanse, cracking it for a swamp on the battlefield. Tapped, shuffle, and then we'll pass. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. Play another island. And then we might as well go ahead and get things started, shall we? Katsusuma, the Animator. A flying 3/3, and you can pay blue and 2 others. Until end of turn, target non-creature artifact you control becomes an artifact creature and gains flying. I know I forgot about that last game. That could have sped things up. But anyway, if it's not already a vehicle, it just gains base power and toughness 1/1. And at the beginning of your upkeep, put a +1/+1 counter on up to 3 target non-creature artifacts. I'm going to put my reminder on there now. And we're off to a good start. We'll pass. Untap, upkeep, draw. Now, if you'll remember, last game, we had Alela pull off a very cheesy, kind of cheaty infinite combo win at the last minute but to be fair, she got shut down by vehicles the entire game. She couldn't even do her thing of making fairies. So it was kind of justified, but still, I'm not overly thrilled with doing the infinite combos like that. So that's why it's only in like 1 or 2 decks, and I try to limit it. But that came about from my play group where it was just me trying to find extra win cons to put inside of decks to just try and keep up. So like the idea of Alela is play a whole ton of artifacts, make a ton of fairies, buff the fairies, and swing in flying for a ton of damage and take out your opponents. But that wasn't always good enough. Plus 1 board wipe, and you're kind of out of steam because you can't replay all those artifacts that are on the field, or at least this deck can't. So that's why I put the Thopter Time Sleeve combo in there as a backup win con to try and, upgrade the deck a little bit in terms of, potential. Regardless, we'll play a Swamp for turn and tap both lands to play an Arcane Signet to get that last important mana color so that we can play her on turn 3, which is still ahead of time. So that's good. Last turn. Untap, upkeep, draw. I'll play a Reliquary Tower, tapping both to play a Thought Vessel. No maximum hand size, it taps for colorless. We will pass. Untap, upkeep, draw. Swamp for turn. And I will go ahead and play Elder. Oh, no, wait, actually, we don't want to do that just yet. Save the black creatures for when my commander's out. Duh. I got all excited. I'm like, oh, let's play something. Basically, the Elder Fang is a creature, but it makes your opponents discard a card. So that is important early game, especially because it can slow them down. They have to sacrifice something good to try and keep their lands or whatever. But I would still rather get the ding damage having a Yara out first. So we're going to head and pass. That could be a downfall for that one. So on our upkeep, we are going to put a +1/+1 counter on Soul Ring. It's the only artifact we have. And then we'll draw for turn. Play a snow-covered island. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cyberdrive Awakener. A flying 4/4. Other artifact creatures you control have flying. So now it will give flying to every vehicle regardless once they become creatures. When Cyberdrive Awakener enters the battlefield, until end of turn, each non-creature artifact you control becomes an artifact creature with base power toughness 4/4. So I guess it would have been smart to hold off on that until I got some actual vehicles down. but I don't have any vehicles in my hand, so it really wasn't going to help much, and at least now we have a flying 4/4. But we do have a flying 3/3. There's no direct threat. We're not going to go over there just, oh, you won the last game. It's like, that's not how you're supposed to do it. I know playfully within groups you can, of course, and it's like, hey, you're a jerk. You won last game. Knock you down a peg. But for here, we're going to go, I guess we'll send him over there. 1, 2, 3. But that is commander damage, though, so I will have to keep track of that. And then we will pass. Untap, upkeep, draw, turn. I will play another island, tapping 1, 2, 3, 4, because tapping Arcane Signet for white, black, blue, and one other to play Alela, Artful Provocateur. 2/3 flying, Death Touch, lifelink. Other creatures you control with flying get +1/+0, and whenever you cast an artifact or enchantment spell, make a 1/1 blue fairy creature token with flying. Cool, because I'm going to drop this 0-cost Ornithopter, a 0/2 flyer, which is now, thanks to her, a 1/2 flyer. But almost more importantly, we make a 1/1 fairy. Now that is a pretty solid turn. We're going to pass. Untap, upkeep, draw. Sundown Pass comes in tapped unless you have 2 or more other lands. I do. So we currently have 4 mana. Now the question is it in the right groupings? Well, it kind of is. So we're going to tap for green and white to cast our commander. Jensen, Carthalion, Druid Exile. A 2/2. Whenever you cast a multicolored spell, scry 1. If it's all 5 colors, make a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying and vigilance. And you can also cycle 5 mana through him to make Wooburg, one of each color. Let's see. I do have some options here that are answers. The question is, do I really need? Oh wait, I can't actually. I only have colorless mana left, so it doesn't matter. We're gonna pass. Untap, upkeep, draw. Play a swamp. Tap all 3 to play a Yara. First of Lochwain. 2/3. Whenever a Yara or another black creature enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life. Boom, 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 and you gain 1 life. You can also tap her to sacrifice another black creature and draw a card. That's all we can do over here, but we now have all 4 commanders on the field. Not bad. Turn 3, so we're going to pass. Untap, upkeep, upkeep trigger. We're going to go ahead and put another counter on that, but that's the only non-creature artifact we have. But not for long. 1, 2, 3, 4 getaway card. It's a 4/3 haste. Whenever getaway card attacks or blocks, return up to 1 target creature that crewed at this turn to its owner's hand. So that's kind of not great, but the point is you can get around that with their ability and crew him without actually crewing him, so you don't have to bounce anything back to your hand. But it's only a crew of 1, so if you can get a little 1/1 that just, it's not important, it kind of helps. Now, other artifact creatures you control have flying, so it does have flying, but again, we'd have to, if we crewed it, we would be bouncing something back to our hand, and that is not a good idea. We're going to go ahead and move to combat, and I guess we're just going to swing in the air at you again. 1, 2, 3, and you now have 6 commander damage. We want to keep this up for a blocker, and this is just basically a hunk of metal on the battlefield until we can crew it. You know what? We're going to do this. We're going to tap 1, 2, for Curate. Look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put any number of them into your graveyard, and the rest back on top of your library in any order. Then you draw a card. I will leave them there in that order. Seems decent enough. We're going to pass. Untap. Upkeep. Draw. Turn. Play an island for turn, tapping the island for the soul ring I mentioned earlier. That is going to make a fairy. We're going to tap 1, 2, 3 to play Pilgrim's Eye. Let's move these over here. These do not have a 7 sickness, these do. Pilgrim's Eye, it's a 1/1 flyer. It's an artifact, so that's going to make another fairy. And whenever it enters the battlefield, search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. We will do Snow-Covered Plains because we do need some white mana. It goes into my hand. Still got 3 mana left. We're going to go ahead and tap 2 of it for Soulless Jailer. Also an artifact creature. Boom, makes a fairy. Permanent cards in your graveyards can't enter the battlefield, and players can't cast non-creature spells from graveyards or exile. That's gonna be tricky to remember, but it's a great card. I just never get to play it very often. I try and put it in decks, and then it ends up getting cut for like more synergy within what's supposed to, the deck's supposed to do. I think, especially with what's going on, we're gonna move to combat, and we're gonna send all three of these at you. That's one, two, three, four, five. 5 damage in the air. One, two, three, four, five. So your little. Oh wait, you do have a 4/4. Hang on. One, two, three, four, five. Sorry, you have a 4/4 flyer. Now we do have a death touch and lifelink, but I'm not going to be stupid about that. I'm going to send a Yara at you. You gain life 1/2, and then I'll gain life 1/2, and then these guys will come at you. You'll block. It doesn't really matter. You'll block the fairy that dies, but 1 damage gets through. Gain life off of that. These will be ready to attack next turn, and that is all we can do. So we will pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw. Bountiful Promenade comes in tapped unless we have more opponents. We do. Now, can we start playing some good spells or what? White and green, and then 2 colorless to play Knight of New Alara. It's a 2/2. Each other multicolored creature you control gets +1 for each of its colors. Now, I cast a multicolored spell, so I get to scry 1. I guess we'll leave that there because we need some more mana fixing. Since we've got these 2 colorless, that's kind of slowed us down a bit. But as of right now, Jensen is a 4/4 thanks to that buff. There's no real reason to send it in anywhere, but it's a good blocker on the ground at least, not going to help much about the air. Yeah, and it's a 4/4, so it would just smash into that 4/4 and they'd both die. It might come to that eventually, but we'll see. Pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw. Play a swamp for turn. Now we can try and start dropping stuff. So first we're going to tap 1 to play Champion of the Perished. A 1/1, when another zombie enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on it. I gain a life, everyone else loses a life. Then we're going to tap 2 and play Elderfang Disciple. I gain a life, everyone else loses a life. When Elderfang enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card. We'll discard Impede Momentum. I'm actually going to discard the land I went and got because these other cards are a little better. And we'll get rid of Sultai Charm. Unfortunately, that's an elf cleric, so it doesn't trigger the zombie. And there's nothing else we can really do over here. There's no point in swinging. So we will go ahead and pass. Oops, that's used. Untap, upkeep, draw, upkeep, trigger. We're going to put a thing there, and we will put one on that. Draw for turn. 1, 2, 3, 4 to play Solemn Simulacrum. Search for a basic land, put on the battlefield tapped. If he dies, you get to draw a card. Now, I don't have enough. Well, that's actually kind of good. Obviously, I can understand why you would want to be able to use this ability. Because whenever Gateway attacks or blocks, return up to 1 target creature that crewed it this turn to its owner's hand. So I'm actually going to tap Solemn's Sad Robot over here to crew him. And this is saying other artifact creatures have flying, so all 3 of them have flying. Now that would leave us wide open, however, so swinging all of them isn't necessarily the best idea. But that's a 4/5/4. It's a 5/4 and a 4/4. We're definitely swinging Katsumasa at you again. 1, 2, 3. Keep racking up that commander damage to 9 commander damage. And we're going to send the getaway car in the air. So you do have a lot of flyers. We're going to send it at you. Now, the smart thing, obviously, you send it over here, it's going to get through. There's no flyers. But they've got a lot of flyers that are getting buffed, and we don't want them to, continue to have them. The more we can force them to block with them and get rid of them, the less chance they'll come swinging in. However, they are at 39, but it's 5. It might not be a bad idea to just block. But anyway, when I attack with them, it bounces Sad Robot back to my hand. We'll block. So that fairy will die. No end step triggers. Nothing else is going to happen. we're going to go ahead and pass. Untap, upkeep, draw. So now I like that you guys are getting to see Alela do some good stuff here, as opposed to last time where she just sat there twiddling her thumbs. Going to tap that and that to play Artificer's Epiphany. Draw 2 cards if you control no artifacts, discard a card. Well, I do, so drawing 2 cards. Boom and boom. We'll play Evolving Wilds. Go get another land, but this time it goes on the battlefield at least, so then we'll go ahead and do 1, 2, 3 for Fountain of Ichor. Add 1 mana of any color, and you can pay 3 to turn it into a 3/3 dinosaur tap for the end of turn. However, it's an artifact, so that means we make a fairy. This one is Summoning Sickness, nothing else is. We do have 2 mana open, but nothing I can play for 2 mana. Still have that giant flyer to deal with over there. Well, not giant, but a 4/4. But I don't like it, so we're going to send Alela at that again. 1, 2. And gain life. 1, 2. And then we're going to send these guys all at you. 2/1, a 2/1, a 2/1, and a 1/2. You're going to block the, yeah, we'll block the fairy. So then you'll take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, now we still have 1 flyer that we can block with. See, this is where, I have a little bit of card draw in my hand, but we need to get a lot more artifacts real fast in order to get the fairies. Or I need some of the buff spells that are in here to help out, so that they don't keep dying when they're blocked. That's all we can do. I don't think, okay, I didn't remember this, but I don't think anybody actually touched their graveyard, so it's fine. No end step trigger, so we're going to pass. Untap, upkeep, draw. I will tap 1, 2, 3 to play Bonner's Ornament, so at least I get 8 mana. So I'm going to tap this for blue to Stern Dismissal. Return target creature or enchantment an opponent controls to its owner's hand. So we're going to get rid of your commander so you don't get that upkeep trigger. But I still can do one more thing. I really don't like that you've been smacking me down, although, yeah, see, this really won't affect do I do it. I'm going to sit on it for this right now. But that was pretty decent. Got rid of that. Still got a 4/4 in the way, so we can't attack into anybody. So we'll pass. I have such trouble making that 5-color Legendaries Matter deck, and I don't understand why. It's so easy, but for some reason it's not for me. Untap, upkeep, draw. Play a Swamp for turn. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tormod Desecrator. 4/2. Whenever 1 or more cards leave your graveyard, return a tapped or create a tapped 2/2 zombie creature token. Now I did play a zombie, so they get a buff. And I played a black creature, so I gain a life and everybody else loses a life. Still only, that's the problem. This isn't ramping at all. No artifacts to speed things up, so I can only play like 1 or 2 things a turn at best. That's not ideal, but it's holding its own. And I still love this deck because it's so haphazardly put together, and yet it excels beyond my normal haphazard decks that are just built off of what I own. For some reason, this one performs better. It doesn't win. I mean, it's won a couple times, to my surprise, but it still performs and does what it's supposed to do and impacts the game a lot better than most of my I built it off of what I had decks before upgrading. I really haven't upgraded this. I should try and look into it. I just honestly keep forgetting because I have so many decks and I'm trying to make more for the channel and then juggle is I'm going to destroy this deck and make a new one and blah, blah, blah. So upgrading the ones I have does get a little tricky at times. But anyway, we're going to pass. Come over here, untap, upkeep, draw for turn. No upkeep trigger, as we said. Halmar Depths comes in tapped when it enters the battlefield. Look at the top 3 cards and then put them back in any order. 1, 2, 3, 4 to recast Katsusuma the Animator. That was a good move by that person, i.e. me, but because it slowed this deck down quite a bit, and it was And vehicles was starting to get rolling. Pun intended. I cannot pay to auto crew anything. And if I did crew with Katsumas, it would just bounce back to my hand again, and we don't want to do that. So we really have only one option right now. So we will, although that does, if we bounce that and play it again, but that's a hefty price tag to try and replay again. If I had like 3 or 4 different vehicles out, then I would totally, crew getaway car with Cyberdrive and bounce it and then play it again so that they all became 4/4s and stuff. But not right now. We're gonna send this at you for 4 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. But that's all we can do, so we will pass. Untap. Upkeep. Draw for turn. Oh, hang on. Shoot. No, wait, I didn't. Oh, scared myself. I was like, oh no, I didn't pay the tax when I recast Alela, but I didn't. Nobody blew up Alela. They could because they do have enough counter like destruction spells in it, but they didn't. So we'll draw for turn. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4 to play Hedron Archive. Makes a fairy, and then I will tap Hedron Archive for 2 and a blue to play Tomb Raider. It's flying 1/1, but when it enters the battlefield, we draw a card. Cool. I will then tap my last 4 mana, including black, for Demon's Doom. Scry 2, draw 2 cards, and lose 2 life. 1, 2, and then we're going to scry 2. Yep, I'll put that back, put that on the bottom, and then draw 2 cards. 1, 2. Awesome. I don't believe I played a land, right? No, because I drew the Hedron Archive and played that, and then played things. Good, so I will play Temple of the False Gods, which is online. No 2-drops that I can play with it, but still, that'll be helpful for next turn. All right, you still have a flyer now. Went down to a 3/3, but you still have one. These just came in. This is not a creature. This Soulless Jailer really is never going to move because he's a 0/4, so there's no point sending him anywhere. But this is what we have to attack with. Yeah, we're going to send Alela at you. 1, 2. I've been doing that and haven't been tracking the commander damage. That's what, the 3rd time? So 6 commander damage? But then everything else is going straight ahead at you. You're going to block one of the fairies with your commander. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gets through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Really, if I could get one of my buff spells, they could be going a little faster. In the last game, we had like a bunch of the buff spells out, but nothing to actually buff. So that was the crazy part. We're going to pass. Untap, upkeep, draw. Luxury Suite, we have 2 or more opponents, but I could really use, again, same problem as last time. Not getting creatures, just getting land. So white, green, and black to play Kethis the Hidden Hand. Thankfully, I have that in my hidden hand this whole time. Legendary spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Exile 2 legendary cards from your graveyard, and each legendary card in your graveyard gains, you may play it from your graveyard. A lot of graveyard words. More importantly, I cast. Okay, that is another land. We're going to put that on the bottom in the hopes of getting something real. And that is cool that legendaries are less now. Thanks to Knight of New Alela, this is getting a buff of 3, so it's a 6/7, but no haste. And let's see, I have 1, 2, 3 mana left. Okay, I'm going to remember that, but I don't think it's important right now. We'll pass. Untap. Upkeep trigger. Boom. Boom. Draw a card for turn. Play the island I just drew. Tapping 1, 2, 3, 4 to play Sad Robot again. When it enters, I do get to go get another land, so that is kind of cool that I can use that bounce effect to end up deck thinning. So I will tap him to crew the getaway car. Fortunately, we can't go swinging out, so we will just swing the 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, 6, 5 at you. You'll block with a fairy, no trample. That's kind of it right now. We're going to pass. But this Solemn Simulacrum does bounce back to my hand. Make sure I'm reading that right. When it attacks up to one target creature that crewed at this turn, return it to its owner's hand. Untap, upkeep, draw. Ouch, another land. Not super helpful. But it's okay. We're going to tap False God, Temple, and a blue to play Mirrodin Besieged. As it enters, choose Mirrodin or Phyrexian. We'll go with Mirrodin. Not yet. So it's Mirrodin or Phyrexian. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, create a 1/1 colorless mirror artifact creature token. The Phyrexian side, at the beginning of your end step, draw a card, then discard a card. Then if there are 15 or more artifact cards in your graveyard, target opponent loses the game. Fun, but, you know, that would be the kind of thing if someone did like a merciless eviction and destroyed all artifacts, and then I drew Mirrodin Besiege, then I'd be like, okay, you want to play? I'll do this, calling Phyrexian, and then start dumping artifacts into my graveyard and being like, cool, you board wiped my artifacts, you're now dead. But that wasn't the case right now, of course. 1, 2, 3 to play Palladium Mer. So 2/2 that taps for 2 mana, colorless mana, which is nice. But it's an artifact creature, so it makes a fairy. Oh, and I forget this most of the times, but I make a fairy off of Mirrodin Besieged as well, because it's whenever you cast an artifact or enchantment spell. Because I have a friend who made this deck with enchantments. I went the artifact route, but his was all enchantments. So I keep forgetting that that's part of it as well. So that helps. These two are Summoning Sickness, however. The rest are not. We'll move to combat. Actually, first what we're going to do is tap Soul Ring and sacrifice Hedron Archive to draw 2 cards, 1 and 2. This can help. We'll tap these 2 for Suture Priest, a 1/1 that says whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain a life. Whenever it enters under the opponent's control, you may have that player lose a life. Now, the may means I have to remember, and if I don't, they don't have to take the damage. But the cool part is definitely, if I, especially if you get that a little earlier, you drop the artifact, you make a ton of fairies, you gain a whole bunch of life real quick. So that's a nice um, life gain aspect to a deck that makes a bunch of tokens. And now that I think about it, I have in past episodes bemoaned the fact that I've never been able to have a good token deck. Alela is a good token deck. I did kind of forget about her, honestly, but even so, I still don't make a ton of tokens because I'll make 2 or 3 in a turn, then they get blown up or I block it. So I don't. I'm thinking of friends who will make like, okay, cool, I made like 20 tokens in one turn, and I'm gonna swing and kill everybody at once or something. Like I make 20 tokens and drop a crater hoof and game over. It's like, oh man. And then my deck makes like 4 in a turn. And it's like, well, it's not the same. But it is. This is also a successful token deck that I've created. One of 2 currently. But we're going to move to combat. Swinging Alela at you again in the air. 1, 2, and now you're up to 8, Commander. Everything else at you. However, you do have 2 blockers in the air now. So you'll block these 2 and take 1, 2, 3 damage. 1, 2, 3. So you're going down little by little, but it's not enough. It's not fast enough. That's all we can do, so pass turn. Now the tricky part is going to be to remember that freaking play a creature, take a damage thing. Alright, Plaza of Heroes doesn't help in the slightest, thank you. It's a good legendary card for a legendary deck, but it doesn't help. Again, I really don't want to... Oh, wait, what am I thinking? 1, 2, 3, 4, Bonder's Ornament to draw a card. Wow, another land. Super awesome. Happy fun time. But whatever. At least they got the land off the deck, right? Poor legendaries. Just sitting there biding its time. But then again, as we saw last game, come from behind win with a crazy thump is possible. We're going to pass. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. Play a land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For Professor Onyx. Finally, a Lily Planeswalker. She comes in with 5 loyalty. She also has a static ability, Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. That's really cool. I can +1. You lose a life and look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Each opponent sacrifices a creature with the greatest power among creatures that player controls. And then her ultimate is probably not going to happen, so I don't have to worry about that. Greatest power would definitely hurt them. I think we're going to have to probably do that. We're going to go down to 2 and say each opponent sacrifices a creature with the greatest power among creatures that player controls. There you only have 2 creatures at the moment. One of them is a 4, so that gets destroyed. You have a 2/3, now it's power, of course, but 2, 1, 2, 1. So I can sacrifice anything. I'm going to go ahead and sacrifice the Palladium Merge because I don't need the thing because I don't want to even think about getting rid of the commander. But over here, unfortunately, it's going to be Ketis because he's like 6. That's a black creature comes in, not permanent, so we don't get to do any of the damage things. And that's all we can really do because swinging out is not advisable right now, so we'll pass. Untap, upkeep, trigger, boom, and boom. And then draw for turn. 1, 2, 3, 4 to play Sad Robot, get a land. I do like this effect because it is kind of helping. Or the synergy of it, I suppose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to play Mirror Turbine. Tap it to put a 1/1 colorless mirror on that artifact on the thing, which I will. So at least it's another creature to block, though that one doesn't have flying. And I just got rid of all my artifacts creatures to get flying, which is a smart move. So of course, that's true. Getting those lands out is good, but I think we're gonna tap this little guy that we just made to through getaway card. It'll bounce to our hand but disappear because it's a token. And then we can swing with the 2 of these. Now this is still on the ground, and it's a hasty 7/6. I think we do have to swing both of them at you. You got a couple things on the, well, you got 4 creatures you can block. I think you'll block the big guy with the jailer just because, and then I think you'll take the 3 in the air. 1, 2, 3. It is commander, but I'm not going to count it right now. Oh, fine. I suppose I should. So 3 commander there. Just in case. I hope it doesn't go long enough for that to matter, but that's all we can do here. We're going to pass. Untap. Upkeep. Draw for turn. Play the island I have. Up. No, that's me. But I do have Suture Priest up. Did I play any creatures? They didn't. You did, so you take a dead. Well, you know what? I forgot. So this is a little different because it's really, I'm always going to forget, but, and it enters the battlefield. So I'm going to say we make them take the 2 because playing this and then creating the 1/1 Mer, it's just, this particular one, I'm going to forget until I see it, but it's not, it's not fair to be like, well, it never does anything because I always forget. It's like, well, if you were playing it and sitting just in front of this thing, you should remember it a little bit more, if not every time. I think I'm going to go ahead and tap the plains to Swords to Plowshare, your commander. Okay, so this is the first time the commander's gone to the commands, and last time we bounced into the hand. Now they do get to gain 3 life, 1, 2, 3. So there you go. They got that compensates for the 2 off of Suture Priest. You know what? We will do that. So I'm going to tap Temple of the False Gods and something else to make Ichor, a Fountain of Ichor, a 3/3 dragon artifact, dinosaur artifact, whatever. All right, so we don't have to worry about back. Well, we do, but we have to worry about blocks. So we're swinging everything in the air and a 3/3 on the ground. You'll block with Sad Robot, it'll die, you draw a card. You don't have any open mana, so it doesn't matter if it's an instant or not. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 2 of it is commander damage. At this point, I'm definitely not going to bother about it because it's just 2. But I do get to gain 2 life. 1, 2. Nothing else I can do. I didn't cast anything. I mean, I did, but I didn't cast any artifacts. So I don't make any extra mirror. Mirror. So we're going to pass. Untap, upkeep, draw. We'll play Cascading Cataracts. Man, I've got like nothing but quote unquote answers removal, and it's like it's not really going to help because nothing that it can target is a real threat. So we're going to have to hold off and wait until someone attacks us. Very boring. Oh wait, sorry, I didn't. That didn't untap. So yeah, we're going to do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tapping Bonner's Ornament to draw again. And yep, more answers. Thanks. Most of my decks don't have any answers. I finally put the answers into a deck. Now that's all I get. Gosh, golly. Fast turn. That's me trying not to like draw the GD and the F-bomb and everything else. Untap, upkeep, draw, lay a land for turn. We will tap 1, 2, 3 for Liliana the Last Hope. Look at that. 2 Planeswalkers in one game. It's a Christmas miracle. We're going to put a 3. It's nowhere near Christmas, by the way. Because, you don't really know when I film these things, but regardless of when they go live. All right, so she comes in at 3. Up to 1 target creature gets -2/-2, or -2/-1 until your next turn. So we're going to plus up to 4 to do that. And we will just take out one of the fairies. Then I'm going to +1. Oh, shoot. I forgot about the... No, that's whenever I do it. Never mind. I'm going to +1, so I lose a life. And then I look at the top 3 cards of the library, put 1 into your hand, the rest into your graveyard. Okay, I'll put those into the graveyard, this into my hand. Gonna save that for next turn if I get the chance. Still haven't played any more creatures. You are open though, and you are mostly open. So yeah, and with 37 life, I think now, well then again, they will swing in at the Professor and Lily, but they're flyers. I can't stop the flyers anyway. So we might as well start making some moves. A 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage coming at you. You can block with Suture Priest, and that's it. And that's kind of your main source of life gain at this point. I guess take it, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This guy's like, how do you like it? But that's all we can really do. We'll pass. Untap. Upkeep, no upkeep triggers. Let's see what I drew. Okay, that's not helpful. Neither is that. Play Tomb of the Spirit Dragon, which I just drew, which is kind of helpful in this deck, but not right now. I'm going to tap Soul Ring for 2 to play a Plague Mirror. It's a 1/1, but it has Infect, and you can tap it to add 1 mana of any color to your... No, tap 1 colorless to your mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 more for the tax to recast Katsuma. So we will hopefully have a upkeep trigger next turn, but that's all we can really do. I'm going to tap this to make a 1/1 Mer. I will use it to crew, which will bounce it back to my hand, and it disappears. and we are going to swing Getaway Car at you. It is a 7 something. I don't know that I really want to take 7 at this point. Still don't want to block with Suture Priest, but I'm afraid we're going to have to. Then we're going to pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw, top decking. And I top decked a Terramorphic Expanse. Not good. Let's see, first basic I get. Another island. Yeah, we'll tap these 3 to make a Fountain of Ichor a creature again, but unfortunately, that's the best we can do. We've got 1 flyer running out of our own flyers. We're going to swing all of these at you and Alela at you. So you're taking 2 in the air, and I'm gaining 2 life. And then block the fountain with the Ichor. So that just would make it a 2/2, but it will destroy this. And then block the fairy with the commander. So 1, 2, 3 gets through. Not much. Unfortunately, that's it. And we also are shields down ourselves, so that's bad. Pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw. Finally, another freaking creature. 1, 2, and 3 to play Sisay Weatherlight Captain, a 2/2. She gets +1/+1 for each color among other legendaries, and you can pay 5 to search your library for a legendary permanent with mana cost equal to her power and then or less than her power and put it on the battlefield. Unfortunately, she is a monocolored creature, so I don't get to scry. Other multicolored creatures get +1/+1 for each of their colors. So currently, 1, 2, she's 3. So she's getting a buff of 3 total from herself and the Knight of New Alela. It's a 5/5. And we've got ourselves a 4/4 and a 2/2. Really not looking too impressive. We'll go ahead and one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, tap to draw a card. Nope, not helpful. Sort of is, I mean, I guess, but yeah, we're gonna. I mean, we could swing it over here, I suppose, and over there. Now that'll make us a target. We'll start drawing attention, but I think we got to. We're gonna send 4 and 2. Well, actually, other way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, and then 1, 2. So it's kind of like this. All right, just to get some, do something this game. Pass turn. Now Lily's all like, "What the heck you hitting me for, jerk?" Untap, upkeep, draw. I could have gone for the Planeswalkers, but I don't feel that's really important. However, this will hopefully be a good spell. We're going to tap 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to cast Dread Summons. Now, first of all, whenever I cast or copy an instant or sorcery, each opponent loses 2 life. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and I gain 2. Each player puts the top X, which was 5, cards. Each player, and myself included, puts the top 5 cards of the library to the graveyard. For each feature card put into the graveyard this way, I make a 2/2 black zombie. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, wow, that was a. But I make 2 off of my own. Now, basically, this all happens at once, and then all the zombies are going to come in. But that's 2 instances of black creatures entering the battlefield, so I gain 2 life. You're going to lose 2. So we might just kill this person off vehicles by themselves. So, nope. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so just one more time. Take a damage, 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 gain a life. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. So, take 2 damage, 2 damage, 2 damage, gain 2 life. And last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow. Oops, wrong way. There we go. Ah, shoot. So it was one, right, okay, so one here, one there. So that makes two more goblins. Zombies, and then they had what, two, right? So that would make another one, two, three, four, five, six. So six zombies. We'll just do it like this. All right, so then we're gonna plus one to take out Pilgrim's Eye. Okay, in your Pilgrim's Eye. Then I'm going to lose a life. Look at the top three, put one into my hand and the other two into the graveyard. All right, we'll put the two lands and this one in my hand. I don't have the mana to play it, but that's fine. Now, I could kill them, but I think we might want to focus on everybody else as well. All right, so this person has no creatures to block, and they are at 20 life. And I have 6 2/2s to block with, so I'm going to swing the board at you. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ooh, let me read this. Hang on. Whenever another zombie enters the battlefield, oh crap. So that's going to jump that up to 7 counters. And that means you take another 6 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because that's when they came in, that buffed up, and then I swamped. So I didn't, thankfully, I remembered at all. But whenever zombies leave, nobody left. All right, that's pretty solid. Gonna pass. Untap, upkeep, draw. I don't think upkeep trigger. This will go there. That'll go there. Draw a card. Play a Darksteel Citadel. 1, 2, 3, 4 to play Whirler Rogue. Whenever he enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 Thopters. So they are flyers. I will tap this to make a Myrrh. The Myrrh I will use to crew the getaway card, so it'll bounce back to my hand, which doesn't happen because it disappears. And then I will tap 3 to animate the Soul Ring, which is currently a 6/6. Well, no, it becomes a base 1/1. So it's got 6 counters. So it becomes a 7/7. This is an 8/7. And then that is a 3/3. Well, we definitely want to go with you, but we only have one flyer. So whether I attack the person or the planeswalkers, they've got more than enough to just chump block a couple things. Basically, I suppose the smart thing to do is we're going to send, what's the smallest? 7, and that's 8. So we'll send the Soul Ring at you. You're taking 7 damage. Boom, dead. The getaway car is going at you, because might as well throw it around. And commander is going at you. You can't block it. 1, 2. And it doesn't really matter in terms of mana damage. Getaway car. I'm at 15. I guess we'll block with Sisse just because we can't just give the game to zombies. We're going to go ahead and pass. And we do have blockers over here, so it's not a simple, win necessarily. Untap, upkeep, draw. Okay, at least it's a creature. 1, 2, 3 to play Commander Sphere. Then 1, 2, 3 white and black to play Aravad the Cursed, a 3/3 with Death Touch and Lifelink. Other legendary creatures you control get +2/+2. I'm going to go ahead and sacrifice the Commander Sphere I just played to draw a card. Doesn't help. It's not a bad card, it's just not going to help right now. All right, so what are we looking at here? Jensen is a 4/5/6. Jensen is a 6/6. Knight of New Alela is a 4/4. We're not getting through there. We're actually not getting through anywhere because nobody has trample. And we probably want to just sit back. Again, it sucks, but that's kind of what we got to do because swinging out just guarantees death. And even swinging out one creature is just asking, to get smacked. So you might as well just hold back and see what you can block coming in from that direction. Although, right, because they have 3 and they're at 3 life. Sending all the zombies over there. Actually, you don't even have to send all of them. You just have to send 5 of the zombies there, and they're dead. So that would be 1 zombie coming this direction. We've already said that this is, a 8/8. So this would get blocked, of course, right? Then that's the next biggest that would get blocked. And then that would get blocked, and then it'd be 1, 2, 3. Right. So 3 damage would come through, but we would have no creatures to do anything with on the crackback. But we also do have something. So, all right, we'll see what happens. We'll pass. I like how I said, oh, we'll see what happens, as if I'm not also the person attacking, and I therefore know what the other person has in their hand, but whatever. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. Play the land I drew. Well, we don't want to do that right now. Tapping 1, 2 for Tamaret, chosen from death. A 2 something. Toughness is equal to your devotion to black. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's a 2/12, but more importantly, it's a creature. So we gain a life and everybody else loses a life. And then pay 2, exile 2 target creature cards from your graveyard. You gain 1 life for each creature. Or no, exile up to 2 target cards from graveyards, and you gain 1 life for each creature card exiled this way. I think we will do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for Alamet's Archive. Should have done that first. If you gain life, you gain twice that much. If you draw a card, except your first one, you draw 2. Definitely should have played that before Tamaret, but whatever. Live and don't learn, as we used to say. Okay, we're going to plus to 6 and make something a -2, -1. Is that going to actually kill anything? Actually, yeah, it'll kill one of these things. So that helps as well. Then we will ooh, that's actually, yeah, we're going to -3 down to 1. Each opponent has to sacrifice a creature. We'll sacrifice that, but now what are you going to do? Really taking either one of these is going to lower him by 2, so it doesn't really matter. That pretty much is going to get us the game. But let's go ahead and walk through it because there is a answer in that hand. So we did those. That's summoning sickness. That is just an artifact. It doesn't have any bearing. So we're going to move to combat. You have now 1 blocker and you're at 2 life. I will send 2 zombies at you, which leaves me with 4. And then I will swing the board at you. So that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 15 plus 8. So 23 damage coming at you, more than enough to kill you. And if you blocked the 2 biggest, that is 8, 9, 10, 11. So it still doesn't kill you. But in response to attackers being declared, we're going to Deadly Rollick, exiling your champion of the perished. If I control my commander, you may play the spell without casting it. Cast it without paying its mana cost. So this goes away. And we haven't declared blockers yet. This is a 4/2, 2, 3, 1, and then some 2s. So what we're going to do is we're going to block the 4/2 here, and then block one of the zombies. So that zombie will die, Tormod will die, but so will that guy. Then that damage all happens at once, so the buff doesn't go away until after damage is done and they die. But this is what gets through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I didn't gain any kind of life. We don't have anything else to play. You took your 2 damage. You're dead. These 2 are going there. Boom, done. Pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw. It's a land. All right, I don't want to drag this out, but at the same time, this is kind of fun that we have these options. Thought Vessel and Sunken Hollow to play Echoing Truths. Return target non-land permanent and all other permanents with the same name to their owner's hand. I'm going to return your zombie. That means all your zombie tokens go back to your hand, but they don't really because they're tokens, so they just get destroyed. Haha. Now you only have 2 creatures to swing in with me. I will tap a green and colorless for Bloom Tender. Tap for each color among permanents you control. I mean, it's a mana fixer. It's not legendary. I just love the art, and from Jen Bartle from that Secret Lair, and I wanted it in a deck, and I'm like, well, it helps because all the colors within all the multicolored permanents. I will then tap 1 and a white to play Revoke Existence on your Alamoth's whatever archive. Exile target artifact or enchantment, so that way you don't gain double life. And that's kind of all I can do, regrettably. I do not have enough mana to trigger Bonder's Ornament. I could swing, because you are down, but I could do a maximum of 3 damage, and you would do a minimum of 3 damage, and I'm at 5. It's not really going to be a war of attrition that we can handle. And if you play, like, if you do anything to draw cards or play a couple creatures, you'll kill me that way. So we'll go ahead and pass. Untap, upkeep, whoa, draw. All right, that's still pretty cool. 1/2, beautiful Liliana's Triumph. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. If you control Liliana Planeswalker, each opponent also discards a card. Oh, you're going to get rid of that, and I think you only have 1 card. You do, so you discard it, because I have a Planeswalker. All right, we're going to pay 1 and sacrifice Elderfang to play Village Rites to draw 2 cards. 1 and 2. All right, interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Liliana. Oh, I forgot I had a creature back here. Liliana the Necromancer. Another Planeswalker. This is the first time in a long time that they've gotten more than 1 Planeswalker out in a game. Comes in at 4. We're going to go ahead and plus the 5 to target player loses 2 life. Boom, boom. Now you're on a 2-turn clock, no matter what we do. But we are in fact going to move to combat. Swinging a 2, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. A 2/11 and a 2/3 at you. You die if you take all of it. But I think at this point, really the player's going to concede because there's no infinite combos in there. Even I mean, there's nothing they can do. They could block, that would die. They would still take 2. It would be their turn. They could recast their commander easy enough. And whatever, let's look. Top deck was a land. No chance. Yep. They concede. I mean, they wouldn't have done that, but whatever. All right. There you have it. And see, what did I tell you? You know, these decks, that deck I've tweaked as much as I could. Well, not as much as I could because it's not like I've got a bunch of, I don't have like all of the 0-drop artifacts or anything. But point is, I worked on that deck. I tried to make that's built out of like 3 different 5-color decks. And this was just kind of hobbled together out of what I had leftover vehicles from after I made the Autobots deck. So this one's not tuned too much. But the point being, look, Liliana Planeswalkers won the game. And I've really done virtually nothing to upgrade this deck. I'm almost scared to try at this point. I'm worried I'm going to make it worse. But there you have it. I hope you had fun watching. I hope you saw some cool cards that you want to try. Maybe you want to try and make some commanders like these, or better than these, of course. If you have any ideas, drop them in the comments. And I will see you next time.